Sue Bird has come full circle in her comments about Caitlyn Clark, following the recent dip in viewership and declining interest in the WNBA.
This is what we want. Instead, we're still getting bullshit on viewership numbers.
Things got heated between the two, but Step wasn't about to sit back and let Caitlyn Clark take the heat. Steven has supported Caitlyn throughout the entire season, and he wasn't about to stop now.
What do you mean ESPN? So because I work at my day job on ESPN, I'm supposed to ignore the facts?
Sue Bird wasn't pleased with Steven pointing out the decline in viewership and the lack of interest in the WNBA finals. While those may be the facts, she wasn't a fan of the way they were brought up.
Stephen A. Smith talk about it. I've seen Shannon Sharp talk about it. And that's what I just don't understand is they work for ESPN. So why are you hating on a product that ESPN
they invest in?
Yeah, that's where these viewership numbers are coming. Yeah, it's a business you're in. It's not that they can't. And by the way, it's not that they can't be critical of certain things. They can have their opinions. But that's where I don't understand the framing.
Even though Steven works for ESPN, he remains committed to sharing his honest views on the situation. Caitlyn Clark has become a major attraction, and without her, the WNBA has faced challenges in maintaining strong viewership. While Sue Bird believes that crowds are still showing up and stadiums remain full, she points out that ticket prices have dropped significantly, which would be why fans continue to watch.
To see tickets at the Target Center in Minnesota selling for as low as $10.
$10 for a ticket to a playoff game. That's unheard of. But let's be real. If Caitlyn Clark were playing, do we honestly think the WNBA would still be selling tickets at that price? Clearly, no.
Sharp starts to talk about the attendance and says, basically that Caitlyn had the highest attendance in the playoffs, which Caitlyn Clark played her first 2 rounds in Connecticut, which only holds roughly 10,000, and they got swept, so they never made it back to Cambridge in Indiana to play a home game. So they absolutely did not have the highest attendance.
Sue Bird, a WNBA legend and one of the most respected figures in women's basketball, has recently found herself at the heart of an unexpected and heated controversy. The drama started when Bird allegedly blamed Caitlyn Clark for the recent decline in WNBA playoff ratings and ticket sales. This comment took many by surprise, especially given that Clark's influence on the sport has been celebrated for attracting widespread attention.
There is a Caitlyn Clark effect on all of basketball, and especially on women's basketball ratings. Kudos to her. She has elevated an entire sport in viewership.
Sue Bird, a longtime advocate for the WNBA, felt that Stephen A. Smith's comments unfairly painted the league negatively, undermining its collective progress. She quickly pushed back, asserting that the league could thrive beyond one player's impact. Bird also took issue with Shannon Sharp, who, like Smith, praised Caitlyn Clark for boosting interest in women's basketball. While acknowledging Clark's influence, Bird believed that the WNBA's growth shouldn't depend on a single star, but rather on the collective efforts of the league as a whole.
Stephen A. and with Shannon, there's an aspect of them defending their stances on her. We were right about Caitlyn and this is our defense. And I still think there's something twisted there because nobody ever said that Caitlyn wasn't going to be a marketing gem, a unicorn.
But the reality is hard to ignore. Caitlyn Clark's standout college performances drew unprecedented attention, and many expected that momentum to carry straight into the WNBA. Without her in the playoffs, however, the league faced a real challenge, sustaining the excitement and fan engagement she had sparked. Suddenly, the WNBA was left trying to fill the void and hold on to the same level of public interest.
But if you guys take a look at the stands, all the seats, even the courtside seats, are empty.
To address declining interest, the WNBA lowered ticket prices for playoff games. Fans quickly noticed the drop, especially without Caitlyn Clark's presence. While games appeared sold out, the reality was that lower prices were used to avoid empty seats. It created the illusion of strong demand, but enthusiasm wasn't at the same level without Clark.
Been to the Liberty Games. They're full. It looks full in Vegas. It looks full every single place that you go. TD Garden sold out when Caitlyn wasn't playing there for a regular season.
If the WNBA had kept ticket prices at Caitlyn Clark era levels, arenas likely wouldn't have been as full. Lowering prices helped fill seats and maintain the look of strong attendance, but interest has still dropped. Sue Bird's change in stance is notable. She once praised Clark's potential, but now seems more focused on protecting the league's broader image.
Nonsense about things that Caitlyn was doing wrong when, in my personal opinion, she was doing nothing but going out there and playing great basketball every night and ignoring the hate that was coming to her from all sides, not only from fans.
What's become clear is that Caitlyn Clark's ability to draw massive attention to women's basketball has made her both a star and, in some cases, a target. It's a familiar pattern in sports. Rapidly rising athletes often face criticism, not just from competitors, but sometimes from within their own ranks. For every fan celebrating Clark's meteoric rise, there are others who see her success as a challenge to the status quo. Even WNBA legend Cheryl Swoops has shared mixed feelings about Clark's growing influence.
Will Caitlyn Clark come into the WNBA and do what she's doing right now? Immediately? Absolutely not.
Without Caitlyn Clark, the WNBA has had a harder time keeping fan interest high. She drew in both basketball fans and casual viewers, helping the league reach a broader audience. While the WNBA has made progress, it still faces challenges in holding that attention without a star like Clark, whose appeal went far beyond the game itself.
Stick around and want to watch the others. A rising tide lifts all boats, which is what we were saying, both Shannon Sharpe and myself, when we addressed that issue. Why would you say a quote like that? We work for ESPN, so I'm supposed to turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to the facts? That ain't what we do.
Caitlyn Clark's ability to captivate casual fans sparked a wave of interest that the WNBA has struggled to match. In her absence, the league is now working to keep that momentum going and fill the gap left by her star power. Meanwhile, Clark has stayed focused on her game, continuing to perform at an elite level despite the growing spotlight. As her profile rises, so does the criticism, from jealousy to insecurity. Some push back against an athlete who seems to have it all: rapid success, widespread admiration, and undeniable talent.
To see WNBA playoff viewership down now that Caitlyn is out. And is that somewhat factually accurate? Yes. It's not accurate. Viewership numbers with Caitlyn Clark are astronomical. She is a big draw.
Yeah.
She brings in all the things.
Despite Caitlyn Clark's positive impact on women's basketball, she's faced criticism from some who seem more focused on tearing down her success than appreciating what she's brought to the sport. Clark has handled the pressure with grace, continuing to elevate her game and the WNBA. The backlash against her feels unjustified, as she's done nothing but excel and raise the profile of women's basketball. Instead of receiving praise for her accomplishments, she's often met with skepticism and hostility, despite bringing much-needed attention to the league.
And to imply that we should just ignore the impact that Caitlyn Clark had on this team, this league, this sport. Nah, it doesn't work that way.
The pattern of tearing down successful female athletes is especially disappointing in women's basketball, which is still striving for mainstream recognition. Caitlyn Clark has the potential to elevate the game, much like Michael Jordan or LeBron James did for the NBA. Yet, some within the WNBA seem hesitant to embrace her stardom, reflecting deeper insecurities within the sport. For Sue Bird, the tension lies in balancing support for the WNBA's long-term success while acknowledging Clark's role in driving recent growth. Bird understands the league needs to be strong beyond one player, but is frustrated by the perception that the WNBA is too dependent on Clark's popularity.
Regardless of whatever noise has been out there. So when you show that you're able to perform in the face of adversity, to me, that is the true testament to greatness.
They got eliminated from the playoffs, the attendance dropped, the ratings dropped. If the WNBA is more, it is, and I get it. Why aren't people watching?